Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am proudly presenting my new course EX280 Red Hat OpenShift Administrator, now available on Udemy. It already has a 4.6 star rating, many students are enrolling, and I am receiving great reviews and suggestions from them. I personally provide WhatsApp and email support for all learners, so whenever you have doubts, you can reach out directly. The course include more than 20 sure short questions and answers, and few of them are available for free as part of preview. But in this video, I will show you the question related with storage class. This is the most critical and guaranteed important questions for the exam. I have noticed that there are many similar videos on YouTube, but most of them contain wrong explanation. In this video, I will show you the correct answer and explain how to fix and solve those questions properly. Let's get started. Okay, this is one of the most important and most confusing question in the exam. If you can't figure this one out, you will struggle to pass the exam. In this video, I will show you exactly how to fix this question. This question is related to storage class topic. Okay, let's jump in and watch the video. Welcome to the next question in this series. This time, we will work on challenge related to mounting a storage into an deployment. In my first attempt, I scored 0. But in my second attempt, I fixed my mistakes and scored 100%. In this section, I will show you what went wrong in the first time, how to fix it and how to get the correct solution in the exam. This is known as the toughest question in the exam. If you can't figure out the exact logic, you might fail. Without delay, let's get into the question. Okay, this is the next question related with mounting storage, PV and PVC to a deployment. Okay, in the question, an NFS backend storage class is already configured. So in the exam, there will be a NFS backend storage. So a storage class will be available already. Using the details for the storage class, create a persistent volume with the following specifications. Name should be WebPV. Access mode is read-only many and the size will be 1 GB. And the reclaim policy as same as the storage class, which means you have to find the storage class reclaim policy first. Okay. And the path is exports-ocp4/page. So the trick is you can't make a PVC through the console for the access mode read-only many because that will be disabled by default in the console. So these are the challenges we are going to face in the exam. Okay, I will show you that. Next is create a persistent volume claim PVC with the following specifications. The name should be WebPV. Say same as PV, which means 1 GB. Access mode also same as PV, which means read only many. Then only it will be bound with PVC with PV. Okay. So the trick is when you create PVC, first you need to go to the namespace because the PVC is namespaced. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is deploy the application with these requirements. So it is resides project name web server. So first you need to go to there, then only do anything. Okay, create a deployment web landing. The deployment name is web landing and we have to use this image name. Okay, the mount path of the nginx /user share nginx/html, which means PVC which we created should be mounted this path. Okay, so replica count is 3, which means we need to ensure 3 replicas is running and should be accessible from outside through this URL. So we need to create deployment, then service and a route in order to access this deployment from outside. So it is very difficult question and you need to understand it very well. In my first attempt, I got only 0% mark, which means the entirely answer went wrong. In this section, I will first show you how I approached this question in my first attempt, where I got 0 marks. Then I will demonstrate how you should approach this question in the exam to score 100%. Okay, let's go to the cluster. First, I will show you how I approached this question in my first attempt and what exactly went wrong. In my first attempt, I went to storage and create a PV called WebPV with 2 GB storage and access mode set to read-only menu. Then I clicked OK and the PV was created. Next I went to the PVC. As you can see, there was no option to create the PVC with read-only menu. So I decided to go with shared access and set the size to 1 GB. Then I clicked the create button. And the PVC was created. After that, I confirmed whether I was using the NFS storage class or not, since the question specifically required using storage class as NFS storage class. I also saw that it was bound to the PV, so I thought everything was perfect. Next, I went to deployment and tried to deploy the image mentioned in the question. The deployment name should be web landing. So I copied the name from the question and clicked on the create deployment button. The deployment was successful and by default 3 ports were launched. Then I read the question again and I saw they are asking to access this deployment through a URL. So I decided to create a service. I went to service under networking and create a service called web landing SVC. To access the application from outside, we need to create a route. So I went to the route and created one named web landing route. I copied the URL from the question. Select the service web landing SVC. Then I choose the port and then I clicked on secure route. And then I clicked OK. Once our route was created, I tried accessing the link from a browser. Yes, I could see the result. Okay, now what do you think? Was that enough to crack this question? Or was it the best way to solve it? In my case, I thought this question was successfully completed. So I decided to move to the next one. However, when I went through the question again, I realized that although we have created PV and a PVC, the question specifically asked to mount it to the path slash user share nginx slash html. So I decided to mount our web PVC to the deployment. So again, I went to the deployment and tried to add storage. I selected our web PVC and set the mount path to slash user slash share slash nginx slash html. Then I clicked OK. After that, I saw new ports being created and replacing with the existing ones. So I thought it would work perfectly. I tested the URL from the browser, but I got some errors. At that moment, I was completely blank, and there was no time left in the exam to investigate further. In that panic situation, I decided to remove the storage and revert to the previous stage. That was a big mistake. Even if I had stopped the task at that point, I might have gotten 50% of mark, which would have been enough to pass this task. But since I reverted everything, I got 0 mark. This was the main reason for my 0 score in the exam. However, after the exam, I investigated further and found the exact way to tackle this task. Okay, next I will show you a diagram that illustrates the connection between PV, PVC, storage class and NFS server. Then you will get more idea about this task. Okay, let's move. We have an NFS based storage class in the exam environment that dynamically provision persistent volumes from the NFS server at 192.168.50.254 using the export path /exports-ocp4 for storing the data. So the ports data will be mounted under slash export -ocp4 by default. Actually, if you have a dynamic storage class, then you don't need to make any PV for your application. That will auto create. But in the question asking to make a PV manually and use NFS storage and mount a specific path from the NFS storage. And when you create a PV with the name web PV and size is 1 GB and storage class name is NFS storage. Actually, this NFS storage is pointing to our existing storage class NFS storage. So that will try to mount data from the storage class. Then we will mention read-only many as access mode. Then we will mention the IP address. This will be the NFS server IP address. Then we need to mention the path slash export -ocp4 slash page. So actually we are instructed to mount slash page under the export folder through this PV. After applying this PV, it will mount files under slash page through NFS storage. Actually, in the exam, they will place an index.html file there. After mounting the storage into the deployment, we need to access this index.html file in the browser. I hope you understand the point. Okay, then we will create a PVC with the name web PVC. Set should be the same as PV. Storage class and access mode also should be the same as PV. Then this PVC will immediately bounded with our existing PV. Which means if any application consume this PVC, then it can access our index.html file. Okay, next we are going to consume this PVC from our web landing application. In this deployment, we will add storage and point to web PVC under /user/share/nginx/html. What will happen now? Now this PVC will be mounted under the HTML directory. So technically our index.html file will be mounted and available under HTML folder of the deployment. I hope you understand the scenario. This is what we are going to achieve. If anyone have doubts, please watch this video multiple times because it is very important question in the exam. Okay, let's go to the cluster. This time I will show you how I approached the question in the second attempt. First I decide to deploy the application and see what output show up in the browser. So let's start by creating the deployment. Okay, the deployment name is web landing. Image we can copy from the question. Okay, let's create it. Deployment is created and 3 ports are launched. Okay, next we need to create the service. So let's go to the service under networking. We can create the service named web landing SVC. We can actually give it any name since the question does not specify one. The selector should match the pod label, which in this case is app equal to web landing. Okay, the service is ready. Next we need to create the route. Let's go to the route section and create one. So the application can access from outside. The host name can be copied from the question. Okay, the route is ready. Let's try to access it from the browser. Yes, it is working. This page is being served from the ports. However, we actually need to replace this default page with the index.html file that is located on the NFS server. I will show you how to do that. Please note, in order to solve this question, we need to find both NFS server IP address and the export path. In the exam, you will usually get the IP address details at the beginning of the question on the instruction page. But the export path you will have to find yourself. Don't worry, I will show you how to find it using some tricks. In the question, they are asking us to create a PV and PVC from the storage class. So let's move to the storage class section. Here we can see a default NFS storage class. If we open that, we can see the reclaim policy and the name. Both we need for the creating PV. So let's note it. Next, we need to find the NFS server IP addresses and export path details. Let's check the YAML files. Here we can see there are not mentioned any details about IP addresses or export path. So what to do? Because without IP addresses and the export path, we can't solve this issue. So let's move to the PV section. Actually, if any existing PV is available in the exam environment, you can get all the details by simply inspecting the YAML files. However, in most cases, there will not be any existing PV in the exam environment. So this page will be blank during the exam. So what should we do next? My approach was simple. I created a test PVC. Since it is dynamic storage class, it will automatically create a PV, and from that we can easily get the NFS server IP and export path details. So let's create a test PVC first. Okay, we have created a test PVC and immediately it is bound to a PV. So let's check the details in the PV. Okay, this is the PV which is automatically created by storage class. Let's go to the YAML file. If we scroll down, then you can see the NFS server IP address and export path. So now we have all details for creating the PVC like IP address, export path and a reclaim policy. This much is enough for solving this question. Most likely, the question will be provide the path to the index.html file. In this case, it is /export-ocp for /page. If we want to cross check, we can log into the server and verify it. I will show you how to log into the server. Here the username and passwords are lab, but in the exam, their credentials will be mentioned in the instructions. So you will need to use the username and password provided there instead. Yes, we can find the index.html file. This is actually need to be mounted to the deployment path under user share nginx html directory. I will show you that. Okay, let's exit it. Let's take a duplicate tab. Then go to the PV section and create a PV. Okay, the name should be WebPV. The storage capacity is 1 GB. Access mode should be read only many. Claim should be claim should be delete. Okay. Storage class name should be NFS storage. One more thing we need to pick from the existing PV. That is volume mode. Just copy and paste. Next we need to find the path. That also we can copy paste. Please note, here we need to point out the page directory because index.html file is under the page directory. Okay, next we need to mention the NFS server IP addresses. Perfect. Now all required information there in the YAML file. Let's create it. Yes, PV is ready. Next we need to create the PVC to consume our web PV. Okay, let's go to the PVC. Click on create PVC. As I mentioned earlier, there is no option for creating PVC with access mode read only many. So we have to use the YAML editor in order to create. Okay, so click on edit YAML. Oh sorry, we have doing this in default namespace. Let's switch to the web server namespace. Okay, let's move to the edit YAML file. Name should be web PVC. Access mode should be read only many. We have to copy the storage class name. Storage is already 1 GB. Okay, once we apply this YAML file, then it should bonded with our web PV. Our YAML file is ready to apply. Let's create the PVC. Yes, our PVC is created and it is bonded with our web PV. So far, everything is perfect. Next, we need to consume this PVC from our deployment. So go to our web landing deployment and add the storage. Claim should be web PVC. And the mount path should be /user/share/nginx/html. Okay, what is going to happen? The index.html file under the page directory in the NFS server will be mounted to this path of the ports. Okay, let's save it. We can see 3 new ports are replacing our existing ports. Okay, let's check the route now. Okay, we can see a new page in the browser. So everything is perfect. The index.html file is mounted perfectly. So this is the end of this task. Please practice it. It is a very complicated question in the exam and also time consuming. Make this scenario in your end and practice multiple times. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, so this is the correct answer to the storage class question. Many YouTubers have explained this wrongly, and in my first attempt, I followed those videos and I failed. That's exactly why I decided to share the correct solution here on my channel, so you don't repeat the same mistake. If you found this helpful, please consider enrolling in my Udemy course. The course includes many other sure shot exam questions such as template creation, network policies, Helm charts, and much more. All of these are the type of questions you can definitely expect in the exam. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you succeed in your EX280 exam. Bye.